Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I am Smoking Phat J.
I am Matt Christy.
And not with us today, but with us in spirit is James Cope. We are here as we are every week to give you what's new in nerd. This week we are watching the Disney Plus Ironheart series, which dropped 3 episodes this week, and apparently is dropping the rest next week.
Yep, because Disney can't make up their mind.
Yeah.
Woo!
So make sure that you guys like, subscribe, and follow, and all that jazz. And to get this and whatever else you like on this channel. So Ironheart, not a show that I was particularly
Ironheart
excited
is
for.
what, the newest Marvel character, technically, by a year, because it's not even 10 years old since the character was introduced. 2016 was introduced, and Miss Marvel was introduced in 2013. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the newest one. We've already seen her in the Black Panther movie. We got a bit of, a bit of her story in that one, her ability. Like we normally do, I'm just what are your general feelings on these first 3 episodes?
I'm not hating it, but at the same time, it's not like up there. But this series is interesting because there's been problems with the series. Obviously, it should have released, I think, 2 years ago by now.
Right.
I don't know what the state of this current thing that we're watching is, whether there's stuff that's been added since they originally filmed stuff for what its intended release was, or if they went back and redid the entire thing, or what specifically we're at. So
it does really feel like there were elements that would have led into that Armor Wars either series or movie that have already been dropped in this. Just little things that she said that kind of, like you say, feel a little late and now touching on things that we'll probably never see. So
for the character itself, I don't mind that they made her older, because the comics she's 15.
Yeah.
And
well, she was supposedly 15, I think, in the
Black Panther 2. Was it? Was she supposed to be 15? So. I thought she was still. I thought she had just graduated high school and was trying to start going to MIT at that point. But
she supposedly graduated and went to MIT at 15.
Right. Well, no. Well, in the definitely in the comics that's what happened. But I'm
pretty sure they say it in these.
Okay. Yeah, because she doesn't. I mean, nothing against Dominique, but she doesn't obviously look 15.
No.
She looks the age for being somebody who's attending MIT as they would normally, not as a genius going in early in their lifetime. So, which again, I don't have a problem with. Because having a young person fulfill this role would be a little awkward, as has been proven in a lot of series that try to use kids and expand over a decade. I'm looking at you, Stranger Things. So that I don't have a problem with it. I think the things I really like about this series is it gives a lot more character build to everybody. Because when she was in Black Panther 2, she just was kind of a person they brought in as an means to an end. So they're doing a little more.
Was the MacGuffin.
Yeah, she was. So they're doing more with her now, which is nice. But at the same time, the series is only 6 episodes long, and I don't see a satisfying conclusion to a couple of things they have already set up. So
I will say I'm gonna eat a little bit of crow, because I think last week I was talking about how much I didn't like the AI hologram version. I have to say it was one of my more favorite parts, and that story of how it came to be, and how she fell asleep and all that stuff. Great. Alden. Well, let me start off with saying I'm in the same boat with you. I definitely have a couple problems with it, but I am enjoying it more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
So, but Alden Einreich, the whole spoiler, not a spoiler, that he's Obadiah Stane's kid. But just kind of like his obsessive, like he plays that good, his obsessive, and then kind of just his jump right into, you could see that birth of a new supervillain, but something different than what his dad is. Almost the opposite, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where he's going to make himself a cyborg is what it looks like. So, and I don't know if he has something in the comic. Is he in the comic, or is he just
He's not
invented for this show? I think he was just invented for the show.
I don't know that they've ever mentioned a son for Obadiah in any
I don't
form
know.
before. Which
But they're probably.
which makes it the surprise work a little better. It's like, oh shit, I would never figured out.
Yeah.
I really didn't figure out that's who he was. But it's interesting they tie it back to that character specifically, because that was your first villain in the MCU, essentially. So, I don't know that he's gonna go full villain. He may go rogue, but right now where they're setting up is that they're forcing him down a path, thanks to Riri, that he's not necessarily trying to go down.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it turns out.
He's going to be like a Poison Ivy-esque character, where he's going to have, like, he's going to have the moral high ground kind of like, but he's going to ends justify the means kind of thing. So, enjoying that quite a bit. I like the Hood. I like the character of the Hood. I kind of like the whole crew. You know what I mean? Like, it's got enough goofy to be comic booky and feel comic booky, but it's not so goofy as it feels like a fucking Disney show or something, which, in the beginning I kind of felt like, oh, this is how this is going to go, but it didn't really go that way. It's been mostly interesting, and the whole thing with the Hood and his like cousin and stuff like that, we don't really know. I will say one of my real big bitches is how, in my opinion, they chickened out at the end. Like, your best ending to these 3 episodes is Sacha Baron Cohen popping up as Mephisto. And I know we're fucking crying fucking wolf here again, but like, that would have been the best. Like, oh fuck, I can't wait to see what happens next week.
Yeah.
And they felt like they were getting there, but it was like, oh, we see your cousin. I mean, every fucking show that's been done a million times. You didn't give me anything original enough to me to say, oh fuck, I really want to see what happens next week. Oh, some entity that looks like his cousin is going to talk to him. Okay.
Well, it's not like that. It's an entity that taking the form of his cousin. It seems like it's projecting the images to him, and it's not even an entity per se. It's just something that whatever entity gave him the Hood in the first place,
Right,
is now just projecting these things into his room, but it's not anything more than a projection for him to see. So for audience at home, the whole Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto thing, that was something that was announced years ago when, again, this series was supposed to be released, that he was playing Mephisto. And the interesting thing was, how are we going to put this into a Ironheart series?
He was on set too. It's like more than just a rumor. Apparently, he was on set for it. So we're still a rumor that it's Mephisto, but
yeah, no, true. But yeah, no, I agree 100% that not showing the character that gave him the Hood, Parker the Hood, at the end of this episode.
Parker the Hood?
Parker. Who gave Parker the Hood. Seemed like a misstep, but because of the weird release schedule, I don't know what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
Because for 6 episodes, that's not something you would normally show after episode 3.
No.
That may be something you show after episode 4, if not the penultimate episode, but definitely not after episode 3. So in that regard, I kind of understand it. But if you're releasing the schedule that we're going to do half the series one week, half the series the other week, then it seems like that should have been what.
Yeah, that should be your big cliffhanger. Yeah. But you're right; they didn't know they were going to do it that way. I think they had a pretty good cliffhanger for episode 1. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was for episode 2.
Him cutting the flowers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The flowers.
Yeah.
That was the end of the episode.
Yeah, and that was okay, but it was like,
that's
it does feel more episodic than most of these Marvel shows have been.
Yeah, that's a weekly.
Which is sucks. because they're not releasing it episodically.
No.
Really, you know.
And it's 6 episodes, so why are you doing it in that format in the first place instead of having your big stings at the end of it?
Again,
Like you've been doing for this entire time.
just a mini series, just a 2-part fucking mini series that's an hour and a half or hour 15,
Yeah.
you know, and then just do it that way.
And that would be the other thing, that there is a lot in this that is character driven, but doesn't necessarily serve the plot they're putting on screen. So
Yeah.
for these episodes being 45 to 50 minutes long seems excessive for what they're trying to put out.
Yeah. Well, like James would say, very padded.
Oh yeah.
Though I do have to say some of those character elements I really like, and some of the parallels, without beating it over the head that it's Tony Stark parallels. Like they barely mention Tony Stark. They, you know,
In the first episode is about,
and she's not like, oh, I'm trying to be Tony Stark, really.
Yeah.
But she's being Tony Stark. She's got this PTSD thing that, like him in Iron Man 3, she has, has the ego that he has. She does not have the means that he has. But she also has the ends justifying the means thing that Tony had, where it's like, I want to, she wants to protect people. She would make a lot of the same decisions given the same circumstances that Tony Stark would. I believe that.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting way to do that character without being like, hey, you know what I mean? Tony Stark did that, you know what I mean? They're not. It's subtle. It's subtle, but it's there. And I did appreciate that.
and in retrospect, it kind of makes sense then that Joe is Obadiah's son, because he is basically using the legacy and the money from his father to collect and reclaim all these pieces of technology that his father helped create, but for the purpose of making sure they're not used by the rest of the world and not put into this situation where they're used as things that everybody could kill other people with.
Right.
So he's trying to be the exact opposite of his father, but doing kind of the same method of what his father was, which is taking other people's stuff and doing what he can to improve upon other people's
Right.
stuff.
Right. And he still needs someone like Riri to make most of these things really happen. Like he's an idea man.
Yeah.
But he's not capable of, bringing these things to fruition on his own. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, I was really, I think, pleasantly surprised by this show. I mean, other than I think they should have came with a stronger hook for these next 3 episodes, I want to see them. I want to see what happens. I will say quite a bit of it still hangs on the fucking Sacha Baron Cohen showing up as Mephisto, because it's such a brilliant casting that I think it was it WandaVision where the whole Mephisto thing started.
WandaVision was where the whole Mephisto.
But
So
I think there was
from the
another one where he was supposed to show up, where I think I said that I was going to be real disappointed if he didn't, and he didn't, and what a surprise. It wasn't Agatha. They mentioned him in Agatha. It was somewhere before that. But the rumor mill's been flying that he's going to be showing up at any time. But this is a wonderful opportunity. If you don't know, the Hood character actually steals the cloak from Dormammu in the comic books, and so that's kind of the antagonist, for him. He's kind of an anti-hero. He kind of floats back and forth.
But he's definitely a lot more vicious in the comics.
Definitely a lot more vicious
so far in the show.
I think it's a good opportunity. I think Mephisto is a good stand-in for Dormammu, since we obviously have already seen him, so it won't be him. And you've introduced so many gods, you've introduced monsters, you know what I mean? But you haven't done anything with this underworld so much. Maybe a little bit in Moon Knight, but that's still kind of mainly gods too. Like you've not done demons and the devil and stuff like that.
Purely gods in Moon Knight.
Yeah. But their gods are kind of both gods and demons, though. Some of those Egyptian
Yeah.
gods.
Well, with Moon
They
Knight,
go both ways.
but Moon Knight also tried to hearken into what they did at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, which is now you have this pantheon where they all intersect, and you have afterlives based upon the different sects and everything like that, and basically saying there's one afterlife, but it's all different based upon whoever's going to it.
Sure, sure.
Um,
But maybe not. We don't know. There could possibly be an afterlife for the bad. You know what I mean? There could be a hell in there. I mean, and we know in the Marvel universe there is this semblance of it. So this is a good opportunity for them to kind of get that in, you know, and then they could do more with it later. And I mean, again, such a great opportunity for a great actor to play a great Marvel villain. You know what I mean? That almost every character has interacted with at one point or another. You know.
Here's another big complaint I have before I get into the biggest problem I have with the show so far. You're introducing a concept of magic. I mean, it's a different version of magic, obviously, because you have magic with Doctor Strange and that type of stuff. So this is a different version of magic. It seems as if from the first Thor movie, they've been trying to counter the statement that what you perceive as magic is just technology of
Just
the world.
right. In our world, right.
But it's like they've been trying so hard to say that no, we did not mean to say that.
Right.
And we're going to show this continuously. And now this stage.
Well, and that could only pertain to Asgardians too. Like he says, what we, you know, so it doesn't have to be everything. And I guess I'm kind of wrong because we did do in Doctor Strange, we did do Cthulhu, you know what I mean? And so that is, a demon type, and that kind of magic we have kind of seen. And I think that from the trailers, it seems like that is the same kind of like hex magic or whatever the fuck they call it,
But at the same time, because they didn't want to lean into it fully with Agatha and with WandaVision, it seems like they're creating another sect of magic within the MCU. And I don't know if it's too late. I don't know where they're going with it by having it now.
Yeah. Well, they talk about Marvel Knights a lot, or not Marvel Knights, Marvel Midnight Suns a lot. Like that's one that they haven't made any announcements for, but other than Blade, you have quite a
for 5 times.
Yeah, but you do have quite a lot, and people are saying now that could be a backdoor to get into Blade rather than doing a Blade movie. You do a Midnight Suns, or you do Blade Midnight Suns and have them come in. We're probably getting to this point where very few of these properties are gonna not be Marvel team-ups anymore. They might have Captain America Civil War, but be that. And I'm okay with that because then it kind of gets rid of that question of, well, what are all these fucking people doing when this shit's going on? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, okay, now you have this one showed up for that. You know what I mean?
That question existed from Iron Man 3, and that was Iron Man 3's biggest problem. The president was kidnapped, but everybody.
But no one gave a fuck but Iron Man.
And then you try to maybe backdoor explain it. Well, Hydra existed, so it's this and that. But that wasn't a Hydra thing. No. Hydra was added after the fact, and it wasn't really fully there.
And you can only say that, oh, well, Thor's off world, and this is going, you know what I mean? Like, you can only say shit like that so much. Occasionally, you're going to have to be like, oh, yeah, Spider-Man did show up at the end to kind of help out, which is cool. Yeah. Which is awesome. Think of Endgame, one of the best scene is when everybody shows up to help, you know what I mean? Your guy's getting beaten down, and it doesn't lessen that character in any way. It just shows that, hey, he's part of a bigger universe. They got friends. This is how shit,
It seems like they're setting up for some other character other than just Mephisto to show up, but I don't know who it is that they would have come in.
Well, okay.
Because you have Pepper Potts, who was an integral part of the creation of Ironheart as a superhero. Beyond her just creating all the armor and everything else like that, she helped get her into the programs that let her.
But Gwyneth Paltrow is not going to be.
No,
that's not happening.
Absolutely not. Or
Maybe her voice.
Actually, you know what? She could, because she doesn't remember what shit fuck she did.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
She might have already. They might have had her do
Yeah,
it ages ago.
she has like no idea what
Phoned
she
it
actually
in
wrote,
during the
so.
pandemic. The I think that Mephisto's gonna be the thing that it was like Mephisto all along, kind of bullshit at the end. I think they're gonna fuck us and maybe give it at the end, okay, for a cameo. I think that the Hood is going to be like going to end up being the more tragic character, where it's like he's not wanting to do this. Maybe he sacrifices himself. Maybe he turns a new leaf.
Yeah.
But I feel like Alden Ehrenreich is going to end up being like the big
Hood.
bad.
Well,
Not the new Hood. I don't
okay.
think it's going to be the new Hood. I think it's going to be that he is going to turn himself into some sort of cyborg. I think it's going to be maybe some twist on a character that we know about. Like, who do we got? I mean, could he be Machine Man? Doesn't he start out as a bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, he could, but that's such a deep cut for
Well, it's
this
supposedly
series.
Giancarlo Esposito was rumored to maybe have been playing that originally in Brave New World, but then they say they cut him in way later and all kinds of shit, so who knows?
Well, Brave New World, there's a lot of things that were supposed to supposedly happen with characters, and then
Sure.
swerved and changed and
And
whatnot.
then
So,
5 years.
but again, as I said at the beginning, this series is 3+ years old in the making, so
Yeah.
who knows what actually is
Yeah.
supposed to happen. My biggest issue so far with this series is the Natalie character, and it's not from a perspective I don't like the character. I love the character. It's that you introduce this high concept of AI being created in this particular way. And the show's doing whatever it can to avoid talking about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like the way that she flippantly gets told by Zeke in that like she could have fried her brain by doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's it should have been a bit more. They started pretty strong.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna erase you, and she's like, you're gonna kill me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, what I mean, again, yeah, that's real high concept stuff. Shit that's very relevant in the world today, and they gloss over it a bit too much to play the I'm your best friend and let's go party kind of thing, you know. And it's just like kind of strange.
What they've done so far in the 3 episodes, they didn't even obviously Karis wasn't even introduced till the end of the first episode, so about 2 episodes really for this concept. You have 3 episodes left, and I don't see the show leaning much more into it.
No.
I mean, they're gonna touch on it. They're gonna bring it up a couple times. But that's when I said earlier, I don't know that I'm gonna have a satisfying ending for the series. That's the main reason I don't know I'm gonna have a satisfying ending for this series, because I enjoy this concept, but I have no idea how they're going to get out of the thing they set up on this.
Yeah.
It's like it's something they wanted to do because Natalie is a AI character in the Ironheart series, based upon her actual friend Natalie character in the series and everything like that. So they wanted to bring this in, but it looks like they took it up more than just being that. And it's kind of yes and no in terms of what they're into it too, because you have the compelling scene after the first heist situation where she gets out of the sewer and confronted by a security guard, and Natalie freezes because she sees the gun, because that memory is in there somewhere. Yet when they go to Gary's shop later, Natalie has no reaction to it. Riri's the only one that has a reaction to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you said that Natalie has some sort of core memory on this in terms of the AI system, but at the same time, she doesn't.
Yeah, it was real weird, and then because then from then on, it's like she's the one to always be talking down Riri.
Yeah.
And it's like, just have her serve that purpose. Like, I don't understand. I guess what they're trying to tell there is that they're because it's the version of Natalie from her mind,
Right.
that she's got the same hangups. But again, yeah, it's not consistent.
Yeah, it's like Riri's having a full-on panic attack in Gary's shop because first time she's been in years. But Natalie, who froze up at a bullet because of the memories of Riri, doesn't doesn't have really a reaction to being in that shop.
Yeah, and shouldn't they just both be having the same reaction
Yeah.
every time? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of strange.
Pick a lane and stay with the lane. I enjoy the concept, but I understand the concept you're trying to put forward.
Her suit, like they seem to be creating reasons for her to be in the suit. Like it's not. She's not doing any big things like that. You couldn't like. She could have had just the glove of the suit to do 90% of the things that she had to do.
Yeah.
You know, other than I guess the little flying, there was the little thing she had to get under the car or whatever. And you know, these guys are, you know, they're we don't know what their big plan is exactly yet, but we know that they had these heists where they were getting these big CEOs to sign over large portions of the shares of their companies so that they could do it. But I don't understand why, you know, Riri's convinced because these people are bad people and we need to stop them and shut them down. But then all they're really doing is letting them keep doing what they're doing and taking the money. Like they're not, like it's almost like they're kind of like eco terrorists type, but they're not. They're just in it for the money.
So okay, I guess that is the big problem. So, we know what Riri's backstory is now, more or less. There was this huge traumatic event that happened to her. It's shaped kind of how she is, including, but her life was kind of going that way before the tragedy as well. It seems as if there is a key story element of Parker's life that is missing from all of this. That I don't know the show's going to take the time to explain.
Yeah, I think that's right where they start. I feel like that's what they were leading to at the end. That it's like that's what they're telling you at the end of this episode is time to figure out what this fucking, because now she's got the thing to analyze it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's another thing that I kind of think we've seen in the trailers where she's got some magic in her suit. It seems like. You know, there's these runes going around her suit, and then one of the trailers. I think once she analyzes that piece, that the AI gets taken over. Maybe Natalie's the bad guy in the end. You know what I mean? Maybe the suit is the bad guy in the end. You know, and this thing that she thought was going to make her iconic, she had to realize that she's already iconic, and the suit is just a tool, and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I mean, that might be the story that they're trying to tell, because it is. Because I mean, look at. I wish they played into her nerdiness a little bit more. They do the Star Trek joke and a couple of these things, but I wish they played into her just like science-y nerd shit a little bit more. They try to make her too tough and too like, you know, they just don't play into that. The nerd stuff kind of is what kind of would set her apart from the other people in the group, because as it is, other than her in exposition saying these are bad things, I shouldn't do these bad things, you're not getting not much context of how she is so different from these other people, that she analyzes things in a certain way and that's how she comes to these conclusions. You know what I mean? Like, give me something like hyper unique about her decision-making project, because she's a fucking super genius. She should not be thinking like other people. She shouldn't have emotional reactions like other people. Like, do her more like you would do a Mr. Fantastic, I feel like, in a way. You know? Give her the ego, give her these sorts of things, but show me that thought process is not a normal, you know, or not a usual type of thought process. Something that is unique.
I think two things at play here. One, it's more natural progression of the fact that she's not 15. Because if she was 15, she would have this more playful nature leading into the heavier nerd stuff while being a genius and everything else like that. The second one is, I think it may be an overcorrection from how the character was portrayed in Black Panther 2. They took criticism that was being given towards the character in terms of how she was and everything else like that, and toned it back. Kept some elements of it, but didn't lean on it as heavily, and now we have the character that we have right now. I don't hate the character that we now have. But I think that's kind of how it evolved, and that may be why it took so long for the series to come out, because they kind of rewrote the character a little bit to have all of this other angst and everything else like that. So
Yeah, well, I mean, well, shall we rank this thing?
yeah, let's do it.
All right, well, let's rank all 3 episodes because that's the way they dropped them on us. So,
Mhm.
what are you going to give this? Well, first of all, James phoned in.
Yeah,
James loves this show.
absolutely.
James disagrees with all of us on all the bad things we said, and he sucked even further dick to talk about all the good things that he really loved. So we got a 4.5 for James.
James was going to go full 5, and he's like, nah, I can't. It's
He
not
was-
my thing, so I'm going to go 4.5.
He was gonna go a full 5, but then he remembered that he's also racist, so he just had to do that
Yeah.
half a point off. You know what I mean? So he actually wanted to give it 4 3/5. That's what he wanted to do, but we couldn't do that. So.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody, forever. That was a great joke, though.
There's no forever.
Matt, what do you want to do?
I'm going 3. Kind of down the middle, but like I said, more towards the positive side than negative side. Like I said, I'm enjoying the series enough to keep watching it. But there's a lot of things missing and or problems with what they're putting on screen right now that doesn't make it seem like it's a complete thing. And I'm hoping that we get more in the next 3 episodes, more of an explanation, mainly of a couple certain things, but I don't know that we're going to reach a satisfying conclusion to this. It's not the worst thing they put out for a Disney MCU show, but it's not like ranking up high with anything else. So
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 3 as well. For a lot of the similar reasons. One of my biggest concerns is this character has been sold to us this whole time, or it was sold to us originally in Black Panther as the Game Is On character. The game is on. We got a show coming up about this person. We're going to force them into this place in this movie where they don't really need to be there. Like I say, just a human MacGuffin. And because we have a TV show right around the corner, which didn't end up being around the corner. So you can't really move off of any of that momentum. And I think that this show was originally The Game Is On for Iron Wars, okay? Armor Wars, rather. And that sucks. That sucks for the character of Ironheart, that they are just kind of this being used as this bridge to nothing because you didn't really attach it to the first thing, and there's nothing to attach at the end. And where are they going to go from there? Likely, whatever the not new Avengers, Young Avengers, or whatever they're calling them now. I think, what is it called?
the kids?
Yeah, there's another one, the Champions or something. I guess they're going to be doing it now. I guess they're doing the Champions.
MCU has not settled on a lot of things right now, so.
But I think that that's likely, if we do see her again after this series, that's where she's going to show up. And that's fine because age-wise, they've aged up most of those people, and even Miss Marvel being the youngest will be at least 18 plus by then. You know what I mean? So, that's fine. It's just, I don't have a lot of faith, as like you say, that this is going to land the plane in a satisfying way. So.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not now a means to a different end, but it seems like it's going to be.
Just fucking show Mephisto, okay? For God's sake.
If Mephisto is not on screen by the end of episode 5, and you try to put him in episode 6, then that's a wasted opportunity for the character to be in this series.
Yeah, but to be fair, they had 6 episodes in that Loki? Was there only 6 or whatever in Loki?
Yeah.
They didn't bring He Who Remains until the very end. Episode was pretty great.
This series is not being written in that
I know,
way.
I know. I'm just saying. There's precedence, Matt Christensen.
That's fine. But at least the presence of He Who Remains was looming at the end of episode 5.
That is true. Yeah, he did show up at the very
Because,
end.
as you discussed, and we talked about briefly, the presence of Mephisto was there at the end of episode 3. and then it wasn't.
And they didn't show him.
So
I was on the edge of my seat.
yeah, no,
Honestly, I was all, oh fuck, they're gonna do it. Oh
Yeah.
fuck, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you guys suck. So look, we're gonna be back next week. James will be back with us. We'll wrap this up. We'll see how much of this he actually watched. It'll be interesting. Last week, if you missed our commentary on Superman 2 question mark version, we were watching two different versions at the same time. So, you pick your poison and join us for that. You could go back and watch that. We got a couple final trailers, right? In between this week and last week. The last Superman trailer, I think, dropped either right before we went on or right after. And the final Fantastic Four. Both of them look pretty fucking wonderful. Both these movies look wonderful.
Okay, I want to talk about Fantastic Four first.
Okay, that one just came out, what, today? Yesterday?
It came out yesterday. I am hyped to see the movie. And one thing that I'm enjoying about the trailers that we see so far is that they're only putting little bits of differences in between each of the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're heavily staying away from more than a shadow or some footsteps of Galactus in terms of showing Galactus. Like, they haven't even played any part of him talking yet. And they cast somebody great for his voice, which they're
Who's playing his voice?
Ralph Ineson.
Oh.
Sid from Final Fantasy 16 and
Mm-hmm.
many other things. And like that's not even hinted at right now. They teased Franklin in the second trailer.
Well, we actually see him.
No. That's what I'm saying. They teased Franklin in the second trailer and said, "Oh, they're going to have a baby," and now it seems like he's in a lot of the movie. So that's a weird thing going from here to there. There's some things that have dropped non-trailer related.
We see a big mole man monster.
Yeah, because thank you, Little Caesars, for having your promotion go off and.
Well, don't ever look at a fucking pop figure
Yeah,
for
no.
anything. 8 months before the movie comes out, too.
So they're holding a lot back in this movie, which is kind of refreshing to see for this type of movie. Because normally Marvel, once you get through watching, you realize, oh, he showed you pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell what the story arcs are going to be? Yes. But unlike other Marvel projects, you can't necessarily tell you what the end is going to be for this movie because of Thunderbolt / New Avengers. And if you've watched the after credit scene for that one, you know that, hey, their ship shows up in this universe. So
Their ship, not necessarily them in that ship.
no,
though,
but their
so
ship
we
shows
don't
up in the universe. So how do we get to that point? So like I said, I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the fact that they're being subtle on it.
Yeah, same thing with Superman. Like we're getting a lot in these trailers, but we're not getting a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot still left to be seen, and it goes back to I've said it on this show, these shows a bunch of times. The Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
They should have never shown Hulk in those fucking trailers. That would have been a Captain America with Thor's hammer moment.
Yeah.
Before that happened. Like, what if they would have shown that fucking in the trailers before? Like, it's such a waste of an excellent scene when Thor walks in and sees it's him and goes, wow, like the whole crowd would be doing that with him. And yeah, people were excited, but we knew it was there. But they felt like with how underwhelming Dark whatever the fuck was, Dark World whatever.
Thor 2.
Yeah, Thor 2.
Yeah.
Like that they needed to show that to get people to come see this movie. And I think you have to realize that you are in a unique position as a company where you don't really need those first weekend numbers. And if you just let that ride and release that the next week's trailer after, well, you just got more fucking people coming now. Now all those people who were like, oh, I would have went if Hulk was in it, which who the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Who was like, oh, I'm not going to go see it because Hulk's not in it. Like, I don't know that you sold a bunch more tickets. But if you were going to, you would have easily sold them the second week if you would have just saved that.
You got 5 or 6 layers now. You had Captain America: Brave New World. You have the first trailer, which shows the hand of Red Hulk coming up over the top of that podium. Great teaser bit for that character
Yep.
being in the movie.
But by the time the movie comes out,
trailer 2,
you
you
straight
show
up,
the- you
yeah,
show
it's
the
his
Red- you show the
face
Red
and
Hulk.
fucking everything. You got half the fucking time that he's the Red Hulk in the trailer.
So, but what else do you sell that movie on? I don't know.
Yeah.
But you could sell it on, hey, word of mouth, this scene was great.
Oh, you could have sold it on, hey, at the end of that billion-dollar movie Endgame, he handed the shield over to fucking Anthony Mackie. Let's do a fuck Captain America movie right now. You know?
No, we did a TV show instead.
We did a TV show instead, which got postponed by the pandemic and all these fucking things too. You know?
I
So,
don't have a problem with that happening and the placement of it being after WandaVision because it was supposed to be the first one. But after that, what was it now?
get right to the movie.
4 years, 5 years before they had the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, and you know, I mean, a lot of it has to do with the pandemic, but a lot of it also has to do with just, you know, the old guard, you know, having to come back, you know, and all these things. So just bad business decisions. Hopefully they can pull their heads out of their ass, let these artists make the fucking movies, and
we'll see.
we'll see.
We're looking forward to Superman here in 2 weeks.
We're looking forward
2 weeks
to
now? 2 weeks,
just
yeah. 2
under
weeks.
2 weeks,
Technically, well,
a week and a half.
they have the early
Week
showing.
and 2
They have
days.
the early showing on Tuesday.
Oh,
They
that's
have
when
it on
I'm going to
Prime.
see it.
We're
That's
on
right. My
Prime.
bad.
It's Thursday now, so they would have the regular night.
2
showing.
weeks for the ruffians.
Yeah,
I got 2 less days.
I can't fucking go that night. On the 8th.
Listen, I will call you and spoil it all.
That's fine. Whatever.
I'll just spoil it all for
Oh,
you.
it's Jared calling.
Jared.
Throw my phone.
I'll show up at your house with a fucking boombox, fucking with my voice spoiling. Superman.
Oh, that's okay. We have neighbors who just
Oh,
who sail the high seas and show on a projector all movies that just released. So
Perfect.
yes.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's going to wrap us up this week. We will be back next week for the second half of this Ironheart series,
Conclusion of
the epic conclusion.
And then we have a week where we don't know what we're talking about yet.
And then
Jared has to. In 2 weeks, Jared has to fucking sit on knowledge of what Superman is.
no.
You do.
No,
You're
no.
just gonna spoil it for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want
Before
to know everything about, like, listen, email
anybody
in.
else would realistically be able to see
I'll do just a special one for you guys. I'll pull you guys aside and we'll just talk about Superman. I'll spoil it all for you.
it.
Be
Okay.
fine. Be great. No, we'll figure out what we're gonna
Be
do.
sure to turn in 2 weeks when Jared says fuck you to everybody and
Yeah.
tells you what happened to Superman.
Guess who that guy is? It's Bizarro. All right. So like and subscribe and yada yada yada. I'm Smoking Phat J.
I'm
Peace.
Matt Christy.
And there's James Cope. Ooh. I'm loving that Ironheart.
James, I'm Ironheart.
Thumbs up from James.